So how do you take on the venerable BMW 3 Series, the king of sports sedans? Well, you start with a clean sheet of paper for one, and that's exactly what Jaguar has done with the brand new XE. It's got a brand new all-aluminium architecture, it's got a brand new series of engines, and it's got a brand new fantastic looking design. Callum, the man who's penned this machine, is probably the most accomplished designer in the world today. Sure, he's taken a hell of a lot of inspiration from one of his previous designs, the flagship XJ, but it still looks absolutely stunning. But Ian, how could you let your engineers ruin your design by putting on these spindly little wheels? Promise me, if you buy this car, you put on a decent set of rims. Sure, it may not ride quite as well, and you may get a little bit of a backache, but I can sacrifice a little bit of comfort if it looks that much better. What can I say? I'm vain like that. In September 2014, at the unveil of this car in Earl's Court in London, I asked Ian what this car says on the road in one word. And he said it says sporty. And that's why we're at the BIC to test it. So enough talk, let's get in the car and see if it lives up to that image. Really nice interior. It's got this really high cowl and this dash that sort of goes all the way across the car, very reminiscent of the XJ, and it has something to do with yachts apparently, but either which way it looks really good. It's got these beautiful analog gauges, two round gauges directly in front of me which look like they've come straight out of the F-Type. It's got this cascading sort of center console, it's got this wraparound dashboard, it's got a really nice driving position, it's got some nice materials. There are a couple of hard plastics here and there, but I guess you have to discount for those in this segment somewhat. Although, not only is this car competing with the 3 Series, but it's also competing with the new C-Class. It's certainly set the benchmark in terms of how a car in this segment should look, both on the outside and on the inside. So on the outside, the Jag has its own appeal. On the inside though, you have to say that the C-Class is pretty much the benchmark in this segment even today. Things we need to attend to in this car before we can really step on the gas. One is we're going to take the rotary controller here and move that in S. We're also going to take what looks awfully like Land Rover's terrain response system and put that in dynamic mode. The gauges light up in red to show you that everything means business. We're also going to press a fairly inconspicuous button on the center console marked off, and that turns the traction control off. So let's turn the electronic aids off. And let's take full control of this baby. It's got these beautiful little paddles behind the steering wheel. It's got the ZF 8-speed gearbox, which again has become the industry benchmark. This particular model has the 2-liter turbocharged direct injection petrol engine that produces 237 horsepower and 340 Nm of torque. The body weighs just 325 kilos. It's 75% aluminium, 25% steel. The weight distribution is near perfect. The center of gravity is really low. It's got double wishbones suspension in the front, which is taken straight out of the F-Type sports car. It's got a multi-link, an integral link in the back, which is a really sophisticated rear suspension done to reduce the center of gravity and keep this car handling brilliantly. The initial reports have all been really good. So really, this car should set the industry benchmark as far as handling on the track is concerned. This engine on the road is absolutely incredibly smooth and refined. At idle you can hear the direct injection, it's got a little bit of clatter, but once you're on the move, it is absolutely incredibly smooth all the way to the red line, and it just doesn't feel like a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It feels like a 6-cylinder engine. It revs all the way to the almost 7,000 RPM red line. It's really smooth and it's really urgent. It feels like a full 240 horsepower. But like I said before, enough talk, familiarization over. Let's see what this baby does if you really start to push it. Brakes are really sharp and immediate. You us point the car into the apex, slide it out to the exit, and then pull out of the corner. Sideways through the parabolica, and the track's pretty dusty too, so the track conditions are definitely not helping us at all. Which is not to say I'm not enjoying it. I don't know if you can see the smile on my face, because I certainly am. Full lock on at the exit. This is fun. This is exactly what a sports sedan should be. It's fun, it's enjoyable, you can throw it around, and it's not intimidating.
157.57.
Stay in the 237s, and like I said, I don't think that's entirely representative because it's a hot day, it's a dusty track. So for Ian Callum to say that this car embodies sportiness in one word, that's what it says on the road, I think that is absolutely spot on. The question is it better than the BMW 3 Series? Well, currently BMW doesn't sell the 328i in India, so if you want a sporty sedan, this is pretty much your only choice. Yes, Mercedes does provide the C200 with a petrol engine, but it's nowhere in the league of this in terms of performance and in terms of response from the engine. It is a little small inside the cabin, so if you think that you're going to have a chauffeur driving this and you're going to be sitting in the back, then you're mistaken, because it's a pretty tight cabin. This is very much a driver's car. So really, this is a great mix between the looks, the refinement, and the interior design of the Mercedes and the performance of the BMW. It's a great embodiment of both sport and comfort.